from the news. Congressman Jason Smith was watching this closely, the debate, and I hope you watched the entirety of the thing, because if we depended on the media to launder this thing, you're not getting the right information about what happened, right?
No kidding, Jamie. It was a great 90 minutes, full of substance.
Yeah, and I thought it was great to hear, because when Trump talks about the economy, or is allowed to, he does a great job, and I think really nailed it down.
He hit all the right issues on the jobs and the economy, and the clear differences between him and Hillary Clinton, of how she'll actually cost jobs in the economy with all the horrible trade agreements that she would have supported that would just push our manufacturing jobs overseas. She also he talked about the Supreme Court and the importance of the Supreme Court, and what he thought was so important of putting judges on there. And he's already submitted a list of 20 judges, including one from Missouri, that he would try to fill Scalia's seat with, as individuals that will uphold the Constitution, that would fight for the Second Amendment. I mean, the only part of the Constitution that Hillary Clinton believes in is the Fifth Amendment, because her and anyone who works for her pleads the Fifth Amendment on anything, so they don't have to answer for anything.
Yeah, and you're right. And when it comes to the economy, I thought I'm glad that she pointed out right in front of everybody. Cut number 19 here. Check this out, Jason.
Well, let me translate that if I can, Chris, because
you can't.
The fact is he's going to advocate for the largest tax cuts we've ever seen, 3 times more than the tax cuts under the Bush administration. I have said repeatedly throughout this campaign, I will not raise taxes on anyone making $250,000 or less.
Well, let's translate that, Grandma with 2 eyes and a brain. What you really are saying there is you're going to increase taxes for everybody making $250,000 and above, which means you're going to eviscerate the incomes of the middle class.
We have the largest tax rate in the industrialized world. And when you're looking at a global economy, the reason why we have huge businesses and small businesses leaving our country and going other places is because it's more competitive. Why would we elect someone to be president of the United States that has the vision to make us less competitive in the world is beyond me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And she also is going to eviscerate the incomes of small business people, because if you look at the 250,000 mark or the 300,000, that technically is kind of a typical income of a small business owner. And you consider that small business owner with a family of 4 and one in college, let's say, whatever, it's backbreaking to increase taxes on them as it is. I mean, because right now as it is, they're already at a tax rate upwards of what is it, 38? I mean,
it's in the higher 30s. But, I mean, people are doing everything they can right now just to survive in this environment where Obama has created such an over-regulatory environment that's costing thousands of dollars. I spoke to a small business owner yesterday that said just to build a new home in St. Louis County, 25% of the cost is just regulation. Just 25% of a new home in St. Louis County is regulations. That's ridiculous. How do you compete?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, we had a great opportunity with the Chinese steel issue. Hillary Clinton, of course, because she's so cloistered in her own little moonbat world, has no idea what the answer is when she accuses Donald Trump of utilizing Chinese steel. Because, of course, the answer is Chinese steel is cheaper. And, of course, the answer is Chinese steel is cheaper because of the regulatory environment and the corporate tax rate we have and the coal killing, which coal is a big part of a steel plant in terms of coal fire, everything else, in terms of what they use to melt it. People get the point. So because of the policies of her and her husband, steel has died here. And that's why Chinese steel is more accessible and it's cheaper. And so in her world, a business exists just as a charity. But no business in the world is going to spend more money than they have to.
Because of the policies of her and her husband, of Obama, and their party, such as the policies in regards to coal, it is causing a huge hamper to the jobs and the economy in Missouri. Almost 80% of all of our electric rates from in the state of Missouri is from coal power. And they're trying to eliminate that, which would almost double and triple our utility rates, which would then, the competitive advantage that we do have for, it being cheaper to manufacture items here, it no longer would be. So they would leave. So they are constantly waging war on Midwestern values and the people of the Midwest. And I just hope people wake up. I mean, whether it's the lead industry or the aluminum industry in my district, just the regulatory policies pushed forward by the Democrat Party and the Obama administration put out hundreds of people out of work just in our state.
Yeah, I mean, and that's we look at that and we look at these policies, and so naturally, and most Americans, I think, understand that, understand the fact that companies in America are going out of the U.S. beyond its borders to do business because it's not favorable to do business here in our own country. It's very simple, and most people understand that, I think.
People want to invest in our country. They believe in our country, and they want to invest here. This is where they live. This is their families. But when you have a government that starts out with one set of rules and then changes it 6 months later, you can't survive. You have to have stability, predictability, and with this administration and Hillary is just a continuation of the current administration, you don't know what's going to come out when it comes to regulatory authority.
No doubt about it. Congressman Jason Smith, thanks so much for being with us. You've done some great work on behalf of the conservative movement, on behalf of Donald Trump and the rest of the ticket here in Missouri. So thank you so much and appreciate what you're doing for our fine listeners down south, my friend.
Jamie, it's great to be with you, and I'll talk to you soon.
At Rep. Jason Smith, it's Common Sense Radio.